name is Nate Savage, and I am a member of the RSU 22 Community Relations Committee. Today I am here with Regan Nichols, Assistant Superintendent of Business Operations for RSU 22, and we're here to ask you a couple questions about the upcoming budget process. So, what steps are involved in the budget process?
So on RSU 22, we start with a process of information gathering. We have a strategic plan in RSU 22, and we make sure that our budgetary development relates to the goals of the strategic plan. So we start that process by inviting principals and program directors to come to the superintendent and make budgetary recommendations based on what they need at their schools, what programs they're running, and what the history has been of expenditure over time in those categories. We also make sure that when we have those budgetary presentations that we're asking what the school principals and program directors recommend for the future. Maybe not just the immediate year, but where do they see a longer range goal and how can we start getting there? After that, we go to the Administrative Council. This is a body in RSU 22 that's made up of school principals, program directors, and central office administration. And we look at all of the recommendations as a body and talk about priorities and which aspects we would like to discuss further or consider on a district level rather than school to school.
So it sounds like the process starts internally. Where does it go from there?
At this point, our school district budget committee gets heavily involved, and we start to invite the public into these discussions. And we would like to encourage public participation this year to a level that perhaps we haven't seen in the past. The next steps include that the budget committee receives the recommendations by budget category. What you may not know is we have 11 budget categories that are set by the state that we need to address. And those budget categories include regular education, special education, student and staff support, which includes guidance, library, technology. We have other instruction, which includes co-curricular and athletics. We have administration, both central office and school-based administration, debt service, transportation, and facilities, along with school nutrition. So we take each of those categories and dedicate a meeting to it, where we go through in detail to discuss what the priorities for those categories are. And we would like to encourage folks to consider which categories interest you, and please come to those budget meetings. Once those budget categories have been thoroughly discussed and reflected upon and revisited, the budget committee will bring a recommendation to the full school board for a comprehensive budget figure. And the school board will endorse a comprehensive budget, and that is then brought to our district budget meeting, which occurs in June. And the entire community from all 4 towns is welcome to come and participate on voting on the final figure. And that final figure is then sent to each of the towns for a budget validation referendum, where we're asking the communities to vote to give final approval to our budget over time. What we would like to let folks know is that the way that you can participate is certainly to advocate for categories of the budget that you find need to have some discussion, and certainly to think about hearing about a category that you might not be familiar with and consider learning more so that you can advocate in the way that you wish.
What are some important points you'd like the community members to know about the budget?
One important aspect I'd like folks to know is that 2/3 of RSU 22's school funding comes from state subsidy. And because of this fact, it is true that our property values have a significant factor and role in what we are determining taxpayers should pay in RSU 22. So the way that this works is that property valuations are conducted across the state for every town. And if our individual town's property values are determined to have increased beyond what the state average is, it is determined that our local taxpayers should pay a greater share of the school budget bill. Conversely, if the valuations go down in the towns, we are expected to pay less. And for this year, the state mill rate has not been determined yet, so at this time we cannot comment on whether we are greater or lower than the state average. But what we do know is our individual towns' valuations did increase modestly at approximately 1%. So we are waiting patiently to see what the state mill rate will be.
And as we enter the end of this interview, is there any kind of last words you'd like to address with the community?
What I would like to do is extend an invitation for folks to participate in our budget committee meetings to the degree that they would like more information or would like to advocate for areas of interest in the budget. I'd like to let folks know that our budget meetings will occur on 7 different Tuesdays at Hampden Academy in the library, and we would welcome folks to come. There will be a schedule that's printed that you'll see at the end of this interview that will show you the different budget categories and the specific dates where each will be discussed. Those meetings will all be recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel as well as on our district website. And if you go to the budget tab on our RSU 22 website, you will find all of that information available.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.